New at 6, fighting crime in St. Louis City. Today, police revealing the city is experiencing a 20-year low in homicide so far this year. But there is one glaring stat. The number of shootings is up compared to last year. So I questioned the mayor about the numbers today.
The department is doing phenomenal work. That, alongside of other, Gabe Gore's office, the circuit attorney's office, which is also part of the city's budget. We have a team of folks that are really working very hard. I believe the city's efforts as well with the Office of Violence Prevention and other areas closing down businesses that are not operating under occupancy laws, et cetera, that collaboration is really important and is really effective. But make no mistake, the police department is doing excellent work.
A department 250 officers short, making a dent in the city's murder rate. The department says the 20 homicides so far this year is the lowest since 2006 and a 20% decline compared to last year. But that crime data shows shooting incidents and shooting victims are up 9% and 7% respectively.
Shooting incidents and shooting victims are actually up so far this year. Is there too much stock put in homicides, and how do we get the shootings down?
Yeah, getting the shootings down is important. I would love to see the state of Missouri weigh in on public safety in a way that allows us to have gun laws here in the city of St. Louis that make sense for our city. And I think that would really help with those shooting numbers that you mentioned, Corey. But I do believe that the homicide numbers are important. We put a lot of stock in them because they really are an indicator of violence. But you're right, the shooting victims are also, and shooting incidents are also an important indicator of where violence is in our community.
As the mayor and police board of commissioners spar over next year's police budget, the mayor says she is focused on keeping crime down by providing safe spaces for residents in the warmer months, including launching an open streets program, allowing communities to transform underutilized streets into public spaces closed to vehicles.
Anytime you are providing space for folks to come out of their homes and participate in community, absolutely it makes for safer communities.
And I did reach out to SLMPD to ask them about the latest crime numbers, but did not get a response. Meanwhile, applications for the city's Open Streets program are now open. They are due by May 1st, and we'll put a link on our website.